Well, welcome to our first live panel discussion of the day, where we are discussing how to practice lean facilities management. Now, the panel here today will explore if lean FM is the way to go and how reduced revenues or increased client expectations can be coped with. Before we get into the discussion, I would first like to introduce our panel here today. We have here with us Mr. Charalampur, the General Manager of Al Sharawi Facilities Management. Also joining us in this panel is Mr. Tamer Bishay, the Business Development Manager, Concordia. And we also have with us Mr. Naganandh Lakshmanan, the Director of the FMS Division of Imdaad. And also joining us today is Mr. Tariq Nizamuddin, the Senior Executive Director from Ijada. The session is moderated by Mr. Matthew Myers, the Assistant Professor Real Estate from Heriot-Watt University. So viewers, please note that the Q&A will be held in the last 10 minutes of the discussion, and we do have the networking lounge where you can take the discussion post the session. Over to you, Mr. Matthew.
Hey, great. Welcome all. I'm glad you guys are spending your afternoon here. Sometimes afternoon sessions are not the ones that if you just had a big meal, it might put you to sleep. So hopefully we keep you awake, we keep you engaged. We have 4 experts here on facilities management. We had a great chat beforehand. And again, these are the experts on the topic. I'm a moderator, so I'm going to let these guys do the main talking. You don't need to listen to me much. So I'm just going to put out the first question to the group here. What are some actions that a facilities management company can do to ensure that you're meeting your clients' expectations during this time of this pandemic where you have work-related reduced revenues and resources? Anybody want to speak up? I'll let you guys go for it.
I don't mind. I can speak up.
Go for it, Tamar.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you for having me today. There is no doubt that the pandemic had a tremendous impact on everyone and on everything we have been doing for the past 9 months. Since the requirements and the client expectations have changed, accordingly, service providers had to adapt and do things differently. With regards to reduced manpower and resources, I think everyone on the panel here would agree that we haven't had a trend across the board of reduction of resources and revenue. It had to be specific based on the property type. So if you think about schools, hotels, retail, commercial buildings, yes, occupancy has gone down, traffic has been less. But on the other hand, when you look at residential properties, for example, with everyone working from home, you had more people staying in their apartments, you had more visitors, more deliveries coming into buildings. And accordingly, the requirements of the buildings have changed. The assets of the buildings have been operational on much higher capacity than what they used to. And accordingly, you need more cleaners, you need more technicians to be there for reactive, you need more security guards. So yes, definitely there has been a change in the resources and the revenue, but it wasn't a flat base across the board that we have to reduce. No, in some cases, we spoke to our clients about increase because of the demand.
Anybody else want to speak up?
Yeah.
Please.
See, since the beginning of the pandemic, companies like Imdaad, we have quickly adapted to the rapidly evolving situation. The situation was quite dramatic, a lockdown, open, something like that. And we have managed to remain very agile. Like Tamer said, it has given us a tremendous opportunity on certain areas. And in certain areas, there were reductions because people were working from home. The residential buildings have a different requirement, the sanitization requirement, and other things. Companies like Imdaad, we are one of the most diversified company. So honestly, we were not affected. There was a small reduction in the top line, but due to agility and preparedness to serve the customers, I can say 2020 in terms of profits is better than 2019. So certain times a pandemic creates an opportunity. Once you prepare, you have your workforce safe, your business continuity plans intact, and the agility to help the customer in needs, either in addition or reduction. So that really helps. So pandemic was an opportunity in certain areas and reduction in certain areas from Imdaad's perspective.
Great, thank you.
Sorry.
No, go ahead, Derek. Go ahead.
Okay. I totally agree with what the gentleman said. Yes, there were reductions happened in some sectors. The most affected sectors were aviations and hotels, obviously. But hotels picked up quickly with the staycation packages that was offered, because a lot of people did not, most of the people were not able to travel. So they selected to do a new concept called staycation. So hotels, a lot of hotels were fully booked during the summer season. Another factor that, in addition to what the gentleman said, the business of FM did not stop during the pandemic. Tenders were going on. We received very big awards. Imdaad also received very, very big awards. Most of the companies were awarded contracts, and mobilization happened during the lockdown. And because our sector was exempted from the barriers of movement. So the reduction of resources were utilized somewhere else, utilized in new contracts, and utilized. We have benefited from the opportunity to do condition assessment. The facilities were shut down, so it was an opportunity to do proper planned and preventive maintenance. For schools, as an example, schools are empty, so you have the freedom to do any deferred maintenance or deferred work that was deferred in the past. So it was, I always say, every problem is an opportunity. And the FM sector, to a certain extent, benefited from the pandemic. We were not affected as other sectors like they were affected, like aviation, hospitality, retail, of course.
Sounds like you had lots of lemons, but you're making lots of lemonade, obviously.
In general, I'm very optimistic. I'm a very optimistic person. I always look at the big picture. I look at the full half of the glass.
That's good to hear. I mean, actually, my background is valuations. We tend to be the other way. We're trying to, our cups are always half empty. So it's nice to have the other side of the fence here. Charles Lampos. Hopefully I didn't tear that up too bad.
I agree with my colleagues to what they said. Every crisis brings both opportunities and risks, and we also saw this new era with an optimistic way. We approached our clients with compassion and understand, because, for example, retails and schools, both sectors were drastically affected because they were closed. There was no revenue coming, there was nothing, and the expenses keep going on. So we are very proud to say that we haven't had any client loss, any portfolio loss during the pandemic, because of this compassionate approach to this really something completely new and earthquake that went around the world. So understanding, compassion, and thinking on a smart way to keep supporting your clients, I think it was the safe way in order to go out of this crisis, which it helped us a lot.
Great, thank you. Actually, that led directly into my next question. So how has your relationship with your clients evolved during this pandemic? Has it improved? Has it worsened? Or have you met in the middle and accepted the way it is? You want any more to add to that?
Yeah. Look, as we see it in Al Shirawi, the world has changed and will never be the same again. But this is not bad. We think that what is coming, it is much better. So the pandemic made the world actually re-evaluate the way they live, they speak, they meet, they do business, they do everything. Look at us right now. If they were telling us 6 months ago that we're going to do, or 7 months ago that we're going to do a conference through Zoom, we say, no, why we don't meet and discuss? And I believe it would be much better if I see my colleagues in person instead of behind the screen with this background, which makes me a bit funny with my head, by the way. So yes, everything has changed. So the way that we do business also has changed. And technology has helped us find ways to actually adjust to the new reality. We were forced to take technology from the development phase and make it a reality, and go through this immaturity stage with less pain. And if we think with regards to the client perspective that now we can go back on the way we used to do business today, to go back, for us that would be a mistake. There is a new reality, there is new requirements, and the client has actually changed, not on what he expects from you, but how he expects that from you. So as far as far as Arshirao is concerned, the relationship with the clients remains stable, but it is defined now in a different level, and it is more based on technology than on the traditional way that the firm was doing. Because for us, the traditional way that we're doing the firm, have 3 people go and fix the AC clean. This is okay, but what is next? And this is where we are focusing now on what is next in order to offer the services to the client.
Okay,
But
we'll save that. I'm going to ask you later on what is next. I need to move on to Tamer.
No, we need an NDA in order to reply this to you.
Okay.
But we are very happy to say that the client retention due to the pandemic reached up to 99.8%. So we are very lucky and honored for that.
Thank you. Tamer, you want to add to that, or?
Yeah, I think on the relationship, when going through the pandemic, it really showed the quality of service providers. Our job is to maintain properties and assets, right? But the true quality of service providers shows when things go wrong, not when things are going right. So the differentiator between service providers is when things go wrong, how prepared are you? What's your business continuity plan? What risk assessments you have in order to ensure that the client continues getting your services as they used to do. I also see the FM role at that point was more of an advisor, not just a service provider, because as we go every day, the regulations were changing. Nobody knew how far the pandemic is going to go. And nobody has a set ready manual saying, okay, we have a pandemic here, this is what you need to do. This is what you need to do on FM, on cleaning, on security, on maintenance. It was not there. So clients really turned to their FM service providers, asking them for help and advice on what we need to do. And I think this is what really showed how good service providers are. And it only made the relationship between the clients and service providers stronger if service providers were able to support them during such time.
Appreciate that. Anybody else?
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Actually, I said that the client service provider relationship, like client Imdaad relationship, has become better. The client was able to see value, like my colleague Tamer said, the value in working with certain companies like Imdaad or Ijad or Concordia or Al-Sharawi. See, we were able to be agile, we were able to reduce whenever they require, we were able to mitigate the risks for the client. For example, in Imdaad, we serve the Abu Dhabi ports and the Dubai ports. So the container terminals were busy. We are the biggest market leader in the banking portfolio. The ATMs has to work, the ACs has to work. So the client became more confident. There were transport restrictions, intermediate restrictions. The restrictions changed overnight. NAIF area was closed, but we were able to come up with immediate agility to serve the customer in the worst times, which no one has predicted. So this pandemic has created a more confident. In certain cases, the clients wanted to reduce drastically the manpower. We have been very supportive. We have been able to reduce the manpower because they cannot fund, like Charles said, in schools and retail, they want to completely slash down the 80-90% of the people. The advantage we had is we were able to redeploy the people, helping the client who are affected financially or there were no revenue. And in clients where they require operations to continue as usual, we were able to deliver. Technology helped. We were able to come up with everything, and that has actually increased the confidence on companies. and the relationship has really improved, and none of the major company, or at least in Imdaad, we have never lost a contract, but actually we were able to secure a lot of contracts based on our thing, and the existing clients were able to add more portfolio into our contract. So actually, it should say it was an opportunity, and I agree with Mr. Tariq. Like he's an optimistic. FM is optimistic during this time.
Great, I appreciate that, Tarek.
It is. I agree with my colleagues 100%. It is, at the end of the day, it's a partnership. We believe in partnership in each other. We believe our partnership with our clients, and we understand that, or what our clients need. In my previous life, I was an FM client, and I know that FM clients is looking for flexibility, especially in difficult times. And this is what big companies demonstrated during the pandemic, which strengthens the relationship and the partnership. The challenge that you, I would like to add to what my colleague said, that there is a very important point, and the challenge that FM companies may face during these difficult times is when the clients started to request that jeopardize the quality. As an example, cancellation of PPM. This is something that an FM service provider cannot and should not accept. This is the main challenge that can face. But if you are selective with your client, you know that clients will not, good clients will not ask for this. You don't want to save money for 3 months and replace the asset after 1 year, which will cost you much more of that. Exactly. So this is where the role of the advisory that Tamer mentioned, our role as an advisor, as a partner with our clients, to give them the right advice. That yes, you are saving 20,000 here, but this will cost you 1 million after 3 years.
Thank you, Tarek. Let me ask you the next question is. Well, I'm an academic. We'd like to have these theories and stuff. Is there particular types of processes that you use to do Lean FM? Any particular main program, Six Sigma, or any of that stuff? And has that changed over the last couple of years?
I don't. It's a difficult question to answer, especially in a public forum.
Okay.
But of course, every FM service provider will use the expertise and will use the portfolio and the specialty of the team. Each company is special than the other to offer the right solution that will cater the client need from operation perspective, from quality perspective, and from price and commercial target. We are very selective with our clients. We only deal with clients that understand the added value of FM, not a client that's looking for a traditional maintenance company. And this is how we are offering the right solution for them.
I appreciate it. Anybody else want to put on the spot?
Actually, this pandemic has forced to think on the Six Sigma and the lean management. For example, I can say there was a transport restriction. Earlier, my bus used to carry, say, 15 people. After this pandemic, I have to transport 4 or 5 people based on the emirate and the based of the law. On the other hand, my client is looking at the same cost or even at a reduced cost because his business is affected. So the situation evolves every day. So we are forced to serve the client, and he is a very good partner. Like Tariq said, we work as a partnership. So we understand the client requirement, whereas the local law, the regulation states the transport has to be in different buses. So this forced us to come with processes and lean management and the increase in the productivity of the staff. So actually, every situation like this help us to evolve in case of technology, like Charlampo said. The adaptability or the usage of technology got amplified. We were looking at better ways in managing the transport or managing the technician, because there were restrictions in recruitment, whereas we were winning jobs. So there was no resources available. How to incentivize the resource, or how to get the best of the resource. So all these things, like Tariq said, we cannot be very specific about every organization, but this gave us a lot of opportunity and to improve in various areas.
Great.
If I may add something here, I believe not only in FM business, but in every business in general, the organizations that survive are the organizations where the previous years have invested in technology, in processes, in learning and upskilling their people. So they had the resources and they acted quick in order to adjust to the crisis. And I believe this is why we are here now, because Al Shirawi and also the three other respected organizations, they have long experience in the UAE market on the 7 level of quality and processes, and this is why we are here. It is simple. If you don't invest in your organization, anything can happen, can destroy you.
Sure. Tamir?
See, just answering a question about the academic part and certification, all that, I think everybody on the panel, they have everything it takes from accreditation to give the best service possible out there. It's just the way you advise your client on your service delivery makes a lot of difference. I think for the longest time, everyone has been shouting about output spec approach rather than input spec approach. Going on a shared model or portfolio management of assets rather than looking at every property individually. All these methods have been talked about for a very long time, but the implementation has been always very low because the market was not much in demand for it. Few clients understood and they were looking for it, but it wasn't as much as demand as we wanted it to be. I think in a way what we have gone through during the past 9 months force clients to look at service providers who can do things differently and still deliver a good service quality. So I think in a way it has definitely helped all of us in order to show our innovation, show the return of all the investment we have done in technology in our operations, and how can that differentiate us from the cheaper service provider, if I would say. But another point I want to talk about is the cost of operations. So it's not all good for FM service providers. Just to be a bit realistic, like my colleague from Imdaad was saying, if I was supposed to send 30 staff to a certain site, I used to use 1 bus. Now I may need to use 2 or 3 buses, and I have to absorb the extra cost. The cleaning chemicals that I have to use, because now I have to use disinfectants, the PPEs. We all invest so much in the gloves and masks every day, accommodation, disinfection, quarantine, the test we provide to our staff. So costs have gone up, and we are still expected to deliver services better and more cost efficient. And it's a tough equation. So unless we nail it right, it's going to be hard for every service provider to stay on top.
Well, let me take that to the next question. I mean, how do you deal with it? I mean, that's the real challenge. Is it technology? Is it trying to figure out how to be lean internally? Because obviously your client's trying to be lean, but you have to be lean. So, I mean, let's give it back to me. So how do you actually implement these things?
Sorry, the question is for me?
Yes, I'll take it back to you since you started it.
See, the premium service providers here in the industry, all of them have invested a lot, like I said, in technology. All of us, we come on every now and then and say we have this new software, we have this new technology that we brought in, but really anything that we should be investing in should result in efficiencies in our operation. Otherwise, it's just a marketing thing you're putting across. So it is really the time to show our clients the effectiveness of all this and the experience that our team has in order to deliver a good quality with less cost. Otherwise, you're going to fall into a trap. Who's going to be the cheaper and how many staff are you providing?
Great. Anybody else? Correct?
When it comes to technology, definitely, as you know, the biggest challenge in FM operation is the manpower. We are a manpower-driven industry. You have thousands of employees. We have in Ijada 11,500 employees today. And you can imagine how difficult it was to manage them during the pandemic. To manage their accommodation, the social distancing, quarantine requirements in case of infections, the transportation, as my colleagues mentioned. The main driver for technology during the pandemic was for solutions that will reduce the dependency on manpower. A lot of technologies in the market still in the pilot projects, and during the pandemic, we've started seeing the companies started speeding the process to utilizing them and deploy them during the operation. Some of them were successful. Some of them were not proven yet that they are successful.
Appreciate that. So Lamantos, sorry, I didn't say that's right. Any other comments?
It's okay. I am getting used to to my name. Look, not all the hit that FM companies had to take was able to be covered by technology. FM companies took a hit, and this is true because, as Tarek said, although I don't like to use the word product, is people, services provided by people. And during the pandemic, people wanted to stay away from people. So we had the wrong product in the wrong time. But we took a hit. I believe all the FM companies, they took a hit. Yes, we had our opportunities, but there was a hit also. And there was a hit because we had to be, as our CEO said always, healthcare leaders. We had to take care of our people. We had to be there with them. Even for those idle people, we'll still have to be there, pay them, support them, and be a family to them, because we are talking for people that they are 100,000 miles away from their families. There was stress, there was anxiety. But I believe, as I said earlier, the companies that have put down the foundation the previous years to set up an optimized organization as much as possible with regard to process, procedures, technology, I think they did very well during the pandemic.
Right. Lakshmanan?
Yeah. See, technology was one of the answers. Like all my colleagues said, it's a manpower-intensive business. It is to protect the people. Example: one guy in a bus get infected, the entire team of 30 people has to be quarantined for 14 days. So we have been, as like Imdaad, we were able to take 6 or 7 multiple camps to isolate key critical people. So if all the people are serving one of the top bank which we serve, and unfortunately one guy get infected or suspected, the entire team has to be getting isolated. So technology was one solution to a certain extent, but we were trying to identify key critical resources and try to keep away from different places. In certain premises where we serve very big clients, we did tests and the client was good enough, like it's a partnership, they provided accommodation in this building, there will be no cross-contamination if there is in this thing. So we were trying and we have been doing hundreds of tests, even till today. Even I have been tested 5 times in the organization as part of the requirement. So I think I finished my 5th test. So we were able to do multiple random tests in spite of the cost are associated, because of, like Charlampo said, we have a huge workforce like any other FM company, and it is our duty to protect their health and protect the entire resources who serves the client. And our pantry boys, our tea boys, our office boys, our cleaner gets exposed to the client. So we have to protect the client. So technology was one solution, but the agility to change, to find a solution to avoid cross-contamination, because it was very difficult to maintain a social distance between a blue-collar worker. So that was a challenge, but hopefully the country was supported, as the government supported. We had hospitals visiting the camps to do the tests, so we don't want to send hundreds of people there. So we managed the situation. So it was not only the technology, but different aspects, the process or the system, or how far you can react and take up the cost now before it doesn't affect the entire organization.
Great, thank you.
I would like to also a very good point, Nagan, about the support that everybody, the whole community got from the government. We have to praise the government efforts on all the levels, all the government bodies. It was fantastic. I think we are very blessed that we live and work in the UAE because what we have seen is unbelievable. It was really very fast, very clear, very efficient, and thank God it was very successful. And till today, everybody, I think the whole world is impressed of what the UAE, how the UAE has managed and handled the COVID-19 crisis.
Yeah, I will definitely 4th, 5th, 6th, and 10th. That definitely the case. You can tell by my funny American accent, that's my original home. And I was talking to my son-in-law, talking how crazy it's over even today. And he was impressed by what's going on here. And the same thing, I've been telling people what we've done here in the UAE has been amazing. Again, we're quite lucky to live in this country who's compassionate, but also making sure things are done properly. So, I mean, yeah, I feel privileged to get to live here. I actually have some really good questions coming in through the chat box, and they're actually related. So I'm going to read them off. First one's from Fahmi Hassan. Do developers have a contingency plan to meet service charges fees in case tenant landlords are financially strapped? Which relates to the next one. As most of FM clients are owners associations, and as always has a domino effect if the service charges are not paid in time. So how should an FM industry cope with this situation when we want to meet a client's expectation as well? Anybody want to address the big elephant in the room?
I can say something about it.
Please.
If you opened the news yesterday, or I think the day before on Gulf News, there was an announcement by the authorities that there has been new implementation for a law that in order for you to rent your property now, you need to clear your service charges payment. And that's only, to me, the proof on what the government is doing here. So obviously we all had hiccup. There was a time when all of a sudden owners, especially when you talk about JOPD, everyone was not paying their service charges. But right away, there has been a couple of releases by the government on, yes, we're going to be supportive if you have been affected by the pandemic. But on the other hand, if you're not, you need to pay on time. And I think that helped us and helped owner association management companies quickly to recover the damage. Because, yes, like the first question came in, maybe there was not enough fund to support for all that. But we all had to work together with what we had to pass through it. And I think to a certain extent, we have gone past the toughest time, and now at least everyone has adjusted to the new normal.
Anybody else?
Yeah. See, regarding the OA or any other client, I know the question is related to the owners association, the service fee. As an FM company, like at least in Imdaad, we enjoy the benefit of having a solid financial base. So this has allowed us to wait patiently for payments. You know, in some cases, we have waited for months, a quarter, or 6 months, given the extraordinary circumstances. So we are grateful to be in a position where we can extend this additional service. You know, we never stopped services in any community because of non-payment. But regarding the service fee and the paying on time, like my colleague Tamer said, it is very important because every community has to. So this is related to the owners association part and the requirement. But as a FM company, as a responsible FM company, we were able to support and we understand the client positions, and we have been grateful in a position to help most of our clients regarding the payment terms and conditions. We are very, very flexible as we had the privilege of having a very solid financial base.
Great.
Which is a very important point in the selection of your FM partner. It is very important the first thing that any FM client should be looking at is the financials, to make sure that the FM company that you are selecting have a strong financial position. We are, as I said, we are recruiting hundreds or thousands of people. We have to pay salaries on time. We have to buy spare parts, we have to buy consumables, we have to pay for the subcontractors. And the last thing that you want to have is that you have technicians and clinic colleagues working on your site and not getting paid. You are exposed, the morale will be down, you are exposed to strikes, you will have a lot of issues. So this is the very important point, the financial stability of the FM partner that you are selecting.
I completely agree with Nag and Tarek, because we also believe that the solid financials of an organization is the key to overcome this. And for us, not to pay an employee's salary, it is not an option. It is not in the map. There is not there. It never happened in the whole Al-Shirawi group, and it will never. But I believe RERA now it has started doing some very nice thing with the escrow and MOLAC accounts, which will put the full transparency on the transactions between the owners, the OAs, the FMs. Unfortunately, the pandemic came. There was a crisis more there because the banks were not opening any accounts or whatever. But I believe now we are on the right path, and things only can get better from now onwards.
Excellent. Another question's come in. Where does FM merge with technology in a post-COVID environment? We are going towards sustainability processes after all. Simply put, how does technology impact FM in the smartness of cities and future processes?
Technology was always a topic hot on when it comes to FM. Even before the pandemic, for the past 4 or 5 years, everybody in the FM industry was talking about technology. You have pilot projects all over the world with all the FM companies, whether it is using robotic, artificial intelligence, machine learning, drones, and we have very successful projects that were implemented and under implementation. As I said before, and as some of my colleagues mentioned, the pandemic speed up the process of the implementation. That some projects were put on fast track to start the field operation of these technologies. I'll give you a small example that we have is we have the first of its kind security patrolling robot that will complement the man guarding, but will replace a number of man guards by a security robot. This project started a couple of years ago. It was piloted at the beginning of the year, and now we are implementing it because you want to reduce the dependency on the manpower. Predictive maintenance, the command centers, drones technologies, artificial intelligence, sensors, all of these, every single company that is working in FM, the number of emails that I'm sure every one of us are receiving every day from companies from all over the world, offering technologies, offering softwares, offering sensors, artificial intelligence solutions. So definitely the technology is a very hot topic in FM industry.
But how do you choose which one? I mean, if you're getting bombarded, how do you make the decision on technology? I'm going to ask all 4 of you this question. Go ahead, Tarek, you can finish up there. Okay.
That's a selection. Of course, we have a committee, research and development committee. We have multiple departments. We have consultants that are working with us to select the right solution. We do pilot project. We partner with our clients. We select a suitable building for a technology, and we do the implementation. And once it's proven successful, we enroll it. We start offering it to our clients.
I believe each organization is different on the way it operates, both on the back office, also on the field, and the process it has. So you just study your current structure, your processes and everything. And for example, we discovered that we had, as an example, we discovered that we had an issue with a specific process in our head office. So we implemented immediately an RPA, robotic process automation, which actually solved our problem. So it is case by case, client by client, because the requirement differs. So there is not a standard way. I mean, we are going to use this. No. Sometimes it is also a combination with multiple technologies together in order to get the right outcome.
I agree with Tariq and Charlambos. It is the situation, the type of the technology. Technology is an integral part of facilities management for any company. The adoption of technology is based on pilots, based on the results. You can install thousands of sensors. You can put an IoT platform. How you are going to implement it along with the field services, how it is going to get captured, how it is going to get workflow getting tuned. So in many cases, certain clients wanted a standalone platform. So like an organization like Imdaad, we need to integrate a huge workforce, 7,000, 8,000 people. We can get hundreds of IoT sensors installed. The process is to convert into a workflow, getting acknowledged, getting it closed. So it involves multiple layer of technologies, APIs across the technologies to be integrated, then the suitability and the scalability. There may be a small pilot can be successful. When it comes to scalability, then there will be a question mark. So every company, we work on different technologies like RPA on the HR side, or on the IoT or the AI, ML. Like Tariq said, we have hundreds of, even today morning, there was one guy showing a demo about an IoT thing. So we get hundreds of demos, hundreds of these things. Every company is working on pilots, and it may take considerable time and analysis to adopt one particular technology and scale it across the operations.
Great. Tamir?
Yeah, I definitely agree with all my colleagues here. Technology is the core of every service provider. But what I would like to point out to it, it's not just about technology, it's what do you do with this technology. Great. I think there is so much that can be done with the basic technology of FM rather than investing in the latest and the best. Plus, you have to take in consideration that you have to have a client that is also willing to explore this route with you. Smart cities is the future, and we at Concordia, we're lucky that we work with some of the key clients that have this vision. So we're able to implement such an initiative with them. But getting back to my point again, with a simple CAFM, you can do so much if you just analyze this data and do actually something with it, then rather than just accumulating data with your sensors with your CAFM. So yes, technology is key. But I think the most important thing that you have the expertise and the people that can actually use this technology and use this data to come up with FM models that will actually benefit the clients.
I disagree, Tamer.
Okay.
The technology should do this role, not your people. If you have machine learning and artificial intelligence, you will get the results. Why do you need people to do the analysis if you have a machine that can do the analysis for you?
Well, actually, I'll step in there. I know in my industry, in the property side, we get lots of data, big data. The computer does a lot of the numberings, but it takes a human still yet to interpret what these means and how they interact with all these other variables. So you still need the human element, but you let technology do all the hard number crunching, all the statistics and all that stuff.
This is what is changing, Matt. This is exactly what's changing. Human interference in this is not required anymore. The analysis of the big data, it doesn't require human interference at all. This is the future that we will start seeing, that we started seeing, and will be seeing in the near future, within the coming 2 years.
Let me ask this question then.
Where
you going to be 2 years from now?
If you may allow me if you may allow me on this, I agree with Tarek, but people think that, technology is replacing people. No, technology needs people. You just utilize the people to do more innovative and constructive things, and you take them out for man hours, which can be easily done by an RPA process or an AR, XR or VR. So it's not like you're implementing to remove people. You are implementing to make people's life easier at work and let them deal with more important things than the one that takes time.
Okay. So people will lose jobs, but new jobs also are created. So if I'm sure that we have children, and we read a lot of articles about which profession your children should be specializing in, what universities. I don't think our kids will be looking to be doctors and engineers like our generation. So we will have people specialize, maybe a robot doctor or somebody who will do the data analysis and this type of professions. There are a lot of articles and researches about the future of education.
Well, let me ask this question. Again, as an academic, this is the problem we're having, is school leavers don't think of FM, property management, and real estate as careers, which is why they're pretty much only offered at the post-grad level. And these are people who've already gotten into the industry, now need a qualification. How do we attract school leavers into our professions? I mean, these are professions they don't traditionally think about.
If you allow me, I think that the market has to be mature enough in order to move to the next level. Is how do we adopt this specific business as a career objective? As Tarek said and my colleague said earlier, the FM in the region the last year has matured enough, but 5, 6, 7, 8 years ago it was nowhere, or at least it was not as it is right now. Now that we have an ISO which has framed the quality where all the companies have to offer as a baseline, I believe that in the next couple of years we will move to the maturity phase where we can also propose and induct the FM or the PM as a career objective to various schools and education institutes.
Great.
I agree, and I think if you look at Dubai as a city or the UAE in general, with the assets aging now, there's going to be higher and higher demand for FM. Maybe at the beginning you were able to get along because your assets were new, but now with the aging assets, you would require from facilities management much more. And some of the technologies that might be very effective in other parts of the world may not be cost efficient here. And that's what we're doing every day. We're assessing those technologies. Some of them work really well in Europe, for example, but they're not efficient in this part of the world. So I think, yes, to a big extent, FM is something to look at in the future as a dominant industry or career. And I think it's going to be more and more in demand in places like Dubai, because you have so much around you. If you look around you, all these properties, they have to be maintained. The assets lifetime has to be expanded to the max.
Great. I think we got about 5 minutes left. I got a question here is there any way to address the concern authorities regarding issuance of advance payments to any approved quoted works? In some homeowners associations, they always use an excuse, the MOLEC system, wherein stating that the MOLEC is not issuing advance payments for any approved quotes LPO. I'm totally lost. Hopefully you guys understand that. Mr. Lakshmanan?
Yeah, see, MOLEC is the new system where the owners, OA companies have to upload the service payments of the different FM companies like Imdaad or different companies. So it goes to the MOLEC system is administered by RERA. So the system is in early phases of implementation. Like Charlampo said, the pandemic came. So there was a little delay even in the payment. For the completed works, there were delay in payments. I think the audience, one of the questions was about the advance payment. So the system, the early glitches are solved and all the pending payments are cleared in the OA system, and the MOLEC system, which manages the payment for the FM companies by the OA. I think the situation will improve. Then they will be able to relook into the advance payment because at the end of the day, the money belongs to the residents. So what is the process for advance payment? Whether they have to give a bank guarantee or what happens. So because the money owned by in the MOLEC system is a collective money of all the residents. So the process may take little time, but for sure, there will be a process for making advance payment in the MOLEC system.
100%. Taking into consideration also that MOLEC system is still relatively new. It's a great effort by RERA, but it will take some time. They will issue new versions that will address all the community's requirements. Nagan mentioned a very important point that advance payment is require proper governance and proper process, and maybe not all the OA companies and the OA management companies are equipped to to handle this. As an example, in our company, if we're paying advance payment for a subcontractor, we request some type of guarantee, whether it's a bank guarantee or a check. It depends on the size of the payment, of course.
Okay, we're down to our last 4 minutes. So I'm going to give one final question to each of you. Where do you see FM in, say, 2025? Stick with you, Tarek. Go ahead and start.
Again, I'm very optimistic. I think the FM is progressing very well, especially in the UAE. In 2025, we will see an implementation of beautiful technologies in FM that will complement the rise of the FM sectors, the new developments that were developed and were delivered and under delivery. And the future is very bright.
Great, appreciate it. Tamir?
I definitely agree. Like I said before, because the UAE has so much premium assets and so much investment has been done into the real estate development here, I see that the FM market will have more opportunities than ever. And I think also that in a couple of years, the market is going to mature and you're going to have only premium service providers around. All these small players eventually will have to fall apart sooner or later.
Great.
Happening.
Charles Montos, go ahead.
I'm not going to comment my name. It's okay.
Please.
I believe FM was one of the industries that has been affected a lot from COVID. I believe this hit made us wiser, made us find ways and challenge ourselves to perform better and smarter in order to stay safe through this crisis. So I can only see beautiful days come in the future for FM industry for the days and years to come.
Great. Mr. Lakshmanan?
Yeah, we are very optimistic. Like we said, even during the pandemic, we were able to perform more. The clients understood the importance of working with quality service providers and paying the right price to get the business continuity intact. Like my colleague said, we will be working in 2025 with much more advanced technologies. Maybe there may be a full-fledged integration between the BIM and the CAFM systems. So when the construction industry matures with the building information modeling, the ease of working in the FM sector may become, the FM will mature, and we are very optimistic, and there will be a big rise in FM, smart FM.
Great. Well, that leaves us to the end. I want to thank you all. This has been a great session, and hopefully Donna's going to kick in here soon and finish us off. Donna, are you back? Maybe she's not.
Yes, we can close the discussion if if you're ready, and we'll be starting the next session soon.
Great. Thank you all. Cheers.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you very much.
Thank you.
Bye.
Bye.